Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the Director of Recruiting for Touchdown, Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Subscribers, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. There's a lot to talk about as the Crimson Tide remain red hot on the recruiting trail. I predicted it was going to be a huge July for the Crimson Tide on the recruiting front, and it has been big for them in multiple recruiting classes, with them picking up commits in 2024 and 2025 and 2026 recruiting classes. On this episode, I will take a look at Demarcus Riddick, who everyone is talking about right now. Riddick is a 4-star linebacker out of Chilton County High School in Clanton, Alabama. He's set to announce a final decision during this week, and I will talk about him on this episode. Also talk about a lot more concerning the Crimson Tide. We're going to start right there with Riddick. I actually had an opportunity to watch him participate and compete at the All Gas Training Showcase in Montgomery, Alabama on Sunday, and it was very, very impressive. One of the things that have always stood out about Riddick is his versatility, is that athleticism that he flashes at about 6'2" and weighing more than 200 pounds, might be around that 200-pound mark at the moment. But you see some of the plays that he was able to make at that showcase, showing off that vertical, showing off that athleticism, and he was a standout, of course. But after this, I had an opportunity to catch up with him and talk about the final decision that he has pending. Right now, he is a Georgia commit, verbally committed to the Bulldogs, currently considering 3 schools though. He's going to make a final decision actually Wednesday at Chilton County High School at around 4 p.m. Central Time. And when we take a look at Riddick's recruitment now, he's down in Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia. When I asked him about what he was thinking about, what his mindset was heading into his decision, he said it's basically where I feel like I am at home at. It's between 3 of the top schools in the nation. I'm going in, I'm ready to get it over with. The school I choose, that's where I will be at for the next 3 to 4 years. So Riddick, like I said, he is a Georgia commit at the moment, but he wants to make a final decision and put his recruitment behind him. Looks as if he wants to shut things down and make this final decision and be done with recruiting. Like I said, with him being a Georgia commit, one may think, well, if you are verbally committed to a school, why are you having a ceremony if you possibly still could be committed to the school? One thing is for sure about Riddick, he's not going to be a Georgia commit by the time tomorrow is over. Basically talking about his relationship with Georgia. He told me that he grew up in Georgia. He knows the fan base and stuff, all of that down there. He says, I like Georgia, but at the end of the day, I just don't feel like that's where I want to be. So we know he will not be a Georgia commit after tomorrow. He will either be an Alabama or Auburn commit. When talking about Alabama, he said he feels that Alabama is great. He likes them. He has chemistry with some of the coaches, some of the players. But he also said he feels that his relationship with Alabama is not like the other 2 schools in terms of Auburn and Georgia, and that is understandable because Alabama has come on a little bit later in his recruitment to some of those other programs. He was already a Georgia commit when Alabama offered him. And talking about Auburn, he said he feels that Auburn will flip a switch his upcoming season. He just seems to be optimistic about what Auburn's future is under Hugh Freeze. So we'll see what Riddick does on tomorrow. Like I said, whoever gets this kid at the end of the day, they're getting this athletic linebacker who most teams and most college coaches are going after right now. They want guys who can defend the run, also guys who can show off their athleticism in the passing game, be reliable going up against tight ends and athletic wide receivers. You're going to need hybrid linebackers like Riddick, guys who you can basically plug into any spot in the defense. When you take a look at his size, he looks like a safety at the moment. For him to play linebacker consistently in the SEC, of course, no matter what school he goes to, he's going to have to add on some weight. So we'll see what happens with Riddick. Is either going to be Alabama or Auburn. I think there's confidence and momentum on both sides, but we'll see what happens with the 2024 linebacker out of Chilton County High School in Clanton, Alabama. And speaking of the All Gas Training Showcase where we saw Riddick, there was another guy who stood out alongside Riddick. He's a guy who Alabama fans may not know about, but I think you should know him. He's actually a Enterprise prospect, 4-star athlete at Enterprise High School in Enterprise, Alabama. He stole the show at the showcase. In terms of what this guy has, he checks so many boxes as being a versatile athlete in the 2025 recruiting class. Actually, when you take a look at this film that we are bringing you guys, you see that outstanding vertical, you see the way he moves, you see that athleticism, you see that ability to just show great footwork. Size looks great. 6'2", 200 pounds. Looks like a solid 200 pounds at the moment. He's leaving the 10th grade. He is a rising junior, will be a junior this upcoming season for Enterprise High School. He has several offers, but when you turn on his film, it's even more impressive because he shows off that versatility. This guy makes plays at all three levels on the defensive side of the football. He can play within the box. He can go back at safety, showing off that vertical and can protect over the top. You see the way he moves when he's going to defensive back drills. You don't see a lot of guys who can move like that, who can have that type of versatility and be at that size. I think he has a full package. I'm really high on this kid. I think he's a 5-star talent, actually, in the 2025 recruiting class. And that's why you're going to hear me say so many times that the state of Alabama is just loaded, ridiculously loaded in this 2025 recruiting class. And a guy like Eric Winters is one of the reasons why. He does not hold an Alabama offer at the moment, but I think that will change. This was one of his more impressive plays that he put together on the day, that last play made by Eric Winters, the 4-star athlete out of Enterprise High School in Enterprise, Alabama. A guy to definitely keep your eyes on. We're going to move forward with the guy who does have an Alabama offer, a guy who is getting heavily recruited by the Crimson Tide, and I'm talking about Daniel Hill, a 4-star athlete out of Meridian High School, Meridian, Alabama. He's set to return to Tuscaloosa on this weekend for an unofficial visit. The Crimson Tide hosted him for an official visit last month, and the Crimson Tide looks as if they're going to try to close further in on a possible commitment from Hill. He is one of their top running back targets in the 2024 recruiting class. We can take a look at what he brings to the table. He's a big physical running back, a guy who has shown a lot of athleticism as well. Nice vertical. If you've seen any of his 7-on-7 clips, you see him climbing up the ladder. You're like, yo, a guy his size shouldn't be able to do that. And when you turn on his film, you see him running the football. You see him being that physical running back. You see him showing off some decent speed as well. Whoever gets Hill will be getting a great running back prospect as well. He is considering other schools. He did take official visits to South Carolina and Auburn over the month of June as well. So we'll see what happens with Hill, but he will be in Tuscaloosa on this Saturday, and I think the Crimson Tide are continuing to build up some momentum with him. They have a very strong relationship with him. He's one of those guys who has visited Alabama countless times. I don't think you can count how many times on your fingers, how many times he has visited the University of Alabama, and that just shows you how interested he is in them. So we'll see what happens. Alabama has long been thought of as the favorite for Hill, but we'll see what his decision will be when he announces it, most likely later during the month of August. Another guy to Mississippi to pay attention to now is Tristan Jernigan, a 2024 linebacker out of Tupelo High School in Tupelo, Mississippi. He's currently verbally committed to the Texas A&M Aggies, but he did pick up an offer from the Crimson Tide recently. He camped in Tuscaloosa in June. He said he felt he impressed in camp. His recent offer came from Alabama's defensive line coach, Freddie Roach. Roach gave him a call and extended that offer to him, an opportunity to catch up with Jernigan and talk about that moment. He said that it was kind of a shock because he went up there to do a private workout in the month of June, and he said that Alabama coaches saw it, of course, and they were very impressed. He just didn't know what to expect. After getting the offer, I asked him what his thoughts were on the Crimson Tide. He said, my overall thoughts on the Alabama program are that they are about getting those players that are going to win games, and I love to win more than anything in the world. It's just a standard at Alabama right now. He is unsure of what this offer means for his recruitment. Like I said, he is verbally committed to the Texas A&M Aggies, but he is heavily interested in the Crimson Tide, wants to get a better feel for their program, wants to visit again. So this is just the one to keep in the back of your mind. Like I said, he is a Texas A&M commit. We'll see how the Crimson Tide's relationship with them continues to develop as they continue to evaluate him, but they are in the mix, and they wanted to be in the mix with him. They made that clear by extending that offer to him recently. So we'll see what happens with Tristan Jernigan, another prospect who is expected to visit Alabama this weekend. To keep your eyes on is Amari Jefferson, the 4-star wide receiver out of Baylor School in Tennessee. He's down to Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. Expected to visit Alabama and Georgia before announcing a decision on August the 5th. He is verbally committed to play baseball for the Tennessee Vols. Of course, wherever school he goes to, he most likely play both sports at the next level. But right now, he is in a Tennessee baseball commit, but he's not a Tennessee football commit. So he's basically going through his football recruiting process. And he's a physical wide receiver, a big body wide receiver. When you watch his film, you see him work after the catch. You see him being physical. There's a lot to like about Amari Jefferson out of Tennessee. The Crimson Tide hosted him for an official visit last month as well. They're trying to close the deal. They are in the mix. Georgia is in the mix. Tennessee is right there as well. I think this one is a very, very tight race, actually, that could go in so many different directions. I think Tennessee felt they had some momentum recently. Alabama, by getting him back on campus, I think they can get in his ear a little bit. Georgia, we all know what the Georgia program has done over the last couple of years. Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs are burning it up on the recruiting trail. So Jefferson's recruitment is one of those recruitments to pay close attention to, just based on how tight it is, based on the teams that are involved. Even when you take a look at Tennessee and what they did last season, how explosive, how fast-paced, how modernized their offense is under Josh Heupel. So we'll see how Jefferson handles his recruitment with those teams he is still considering. To close today's show out, we're going to talk about a couple of 2025 recruits who I saw at the All Gas Training Showcase as well, starting with Alvin Henderson, a 2025 four-star running back out of Elba High School in Elba, Alabama. He is an top Alabama target at the running back position. We all know the Crimson Tide does have a verbal commitment from 2025 four-star running back Anthony Rogers out of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, who's originally from Alabama, D. Montgomery, Alabama area. So with Rogers being verbally committed to Alabama, Henderson is not taking that as a slight, basically not taking it as a reason to not look at Alabama. He's still considering the Crimson Tide. They show him that he's still a priority for them when they hosted him for an unofficial visit on last month, and an opportunity to catch up with multiple members of Alabama's coaching staff during that visit. I actually asked him about what were his thoughts about possibly teaming up with Anthony Rogers in Alabama's backfield in the future. What would that mean to him? Is that something that he is considering that if he was to commit to Alabama in the future, he would have to do that, and that's something that's not crazy when you think about Alabama under Nick Saban in the running back position. He told me that he feels they will be a crazy duo. He said Alabama always has kept it real with him since day one. He said he knows Anthony Rogers, that's his guy. Me and him in the backfield together, that would be a crazy duo, especially with him being from Bama and me being from Bama too. We'll be a crazy duo playing with each other. So he is interested in that opportunity. In terms of Alabama's message to him, he said he feels their main message has been trying to get me to know that I am still a main priority for them, with me being an Alabama kid. They're going to do everything they can to get me to Alabama because they know that I am an elite running back. They want me to be part of something special. Alabama's not the only team heavily involved with Henderson. He has 70 plus offers. Actually, will be in Oregon on this weekend for several days out there with one of the Alabama products who is a running back coach at the collegiate football level. When you talk about Oregon's running back coach, an Alabama native who is tapping into those roots, trying to get guys like Alvin Henderson to Oregon. So he will visit Oregon this weekend. Schools like Florida State, schools like Georgia, schools like Auburn are still heavily involved with Alvin Henderson, but he does feel he is still a priority for the Crimson Tide, and he is intrigued and interested in an opportunity to possibly play alongside Rogers. That's two Alabama natives, two Alabama kids playing for the University of Alabama in the backfield, sharing it for the Crimson Tide. The last prospect I want to talk about today is Zion Grady, a five-star edge in the 2025 recruiting class out of Charles Henderson High School in Troy, Alabama. Recently released his top 10. Of course, Alabama was involved in that top 10. Grady is an explosive edge rusher, a guy who the Crimson Tide are steadily picking up momentum with. I caught up with him after that All Gas Training Showcase, and he told me that he feels his relationship with Alabama is the strongest relationship that he has among the schools that he is getting recruited by at the moment. He's still getting heavily recruited by some of the top schools in the nation, like Florida State, like Georgia, like Auburn. In terms of his top 10, he did release that recently, included Alabama, included Auburn, included Florida State, included Georgia, included Tennessee, included Oregon, included Louisville, included Michigan, included Tennessee, and included USC. So he's a guy who's going to continue to keep his recruitment moving forward. He said he felt like it was just time to narrow things down, but he does not have a commitment time frame. He does not want to be committed at any point in time at this point in his recruitment. There's a long way to go. We see Alabama picking up 2025 commits, but he's not a guy who feels like he wants to move that far along in terms of his recruitment, but he does want to start to narrow things down, which is something we see when it comes to the recruiting process. Help guys get through things, figure out which schools that they are interested in, so those schools know as well. So those top 10 schools are helpful for schools who are recruiting those guys too, so they know where they stand with those prospects. But for right now, Alabama is right in the thick of things for Grady. I think as time goes on, if they continue to do a great job building a relationship with them, I think they are starting to separate themselves as a leader for Grady as he continues to move forward with his recruitment. But that is what I want to talk about on today's episode of The Process. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. As always, be sure to hit that like button before you leave. Hit that subscribe button as well. Subscribers, hit that notification bell for me. Be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up your subscription today. When you leave there, head to the Google Play Store if you have an Android device to download the Touchdown Alabama app. If you have an Apple device, be sure to go to the Apple App Store to download the app as well, so breaking news notifications can be sent to your mobile device. As always, I am Justin Smith, the Director of Recruiting for Touchdown Alabama.
Process.